Beautiful. So good to see so many of you jumping on in my morning, of course. It might be your afternoon, it could be your evening, or it might be even earlier than me if we have a few from Australia. So it's so cool, isn't it, to be able to have a space where we can all come together. And even if that means if you're watching the replay, so welcoming you as well if you're watching the replay. I always feel it in the field that we're all together, regardless if you're live or not. And I'm excited about, oh, that's interesting. My laptop's just decided to, I don't know if you heard that in the background, it just decided to start for some weird reason. I'm excited about today's conversation because it's a very, very powerful one. And it's about being in self-mastery. So I'm sure that you will agree that it's a very, very important topic. Yeah, it's a very important topic to be in self-mastery. We'll just let the late stragglers come on in before we kick off. But would you agree that self-mastery really would be one of the most important things that you can be connected into? I mean, yeah, for sure. It is, right? It is. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. And, it's something that I see a lot is, that's where a lot of the struggle is and where a lot of the pain is of people not really being able to fully connect into their self-mastery. So there's only one thing more important than your choices, and that is your goal to obtain your self-mastery. And that is it. And that is it. So so there's only one exception where it's not okay to make your choices, and that's when your choice is mastery. And that is, that is our goal. That is your goal. This means that you love your truth in every moment. You love your truth in every moment. So you can be totally committed to, you can be just totally committed to living your truth. And that is your value. And that, that you'll be true in every moment in your life. Not that you will, be in this in every single moment of life, because that's not possible, is it? It's something that I talk about, that mastery is not holding yourself at the top of the swing of the pendulum, because that's just not possible. But if we choose that to be our goal as creators, it's noticing when we're not, and then bringing ourselves into being masterful. You see, you can only get so far in your choices and not be self-masterful, not be in self-mastery. I see a lot of people in this, choosing their choices, but not still actually being connected into yourself, self-mastery. And you can actually get further by being in self-mastery and not making choices. And if you do both, you're making choices and set that intention, that goal to be in self-mastery. That's like the ultimate. That's the ultimate in elevation and magic and creation. And who would love that? Who would love that? Let me know in the chat box if that's something that you would love, to not only be making your true choices, but to also be in that intention of being in your self-mastery. We've got some hands up. Yeah, because why wouldn't we take this opportunity to really be in the ultimate of creation? Why wouldn't we take the opportunity? Because it comes down to choice, doesn't it? Comes down to choice. So who knows much about the stock market? Who knows anything about the stock market? I don't really know much. I don't really know much about the stock market, but here's not me. Nah, neither. Neither. I thought you might, Michael. I thought you might. But here's what I do know is that in the stock market, they have peaks and troughs. There's highs and lows, right? There's highs and lows. It's not just like keep on going up, 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 is it? There's highs and lows. And where we are now in 2025 is a considerable, it's considerably greater than when the stock market first begun many years ago, right? The value of the stocks, and when you think about, I don't even know when the stock market really first begun, but whenever it was, the dollar, like, it's not the same as where it is now. It's not the same of where it is now. Yeah, it goes up and down. It probably has massive peaks and big troughs, but on the long term, on the bigger picture vision of it, it is going up, isn't it? From when it first began, let's say it's the 1800s. I mean, it probably wasn't. I've got no idea. We'll just put our imagination there, right? So from there to now, even in the highs and lows and the ups and downs, it's considerably greater. And our destiny, my destiny, your destiny trends like a stock market. There are ups and downs. There are ups and downs. We know that even in the stock market, even when it's down, it will eventually go up. And as the stock market, so is your life. So is our life. So we should know that we will have ups and downs, and we must be okay with being in the downs. But the problem is that we react. See, when you think about the stock market, the people that really lose are the ones that pull out when it's down. They're like, my current reality right now, I'm stressing, they're reactive, and they focus on the current reality and their circumstance rather than being focused on the big picture and weighing in on that. They don't let it be okay for it to be down, or let it be okay to lose. And when you see the reflection of that in how we are in our creations, we don't let it be okay to be down. We don't let it be okay to lose. And so to be an actual creator and self-mastery, self-mastery is the name of the game. Like, that's the heart of it all. So what is self-mastery really? It's about holding yourself as whole and operating from that wholeness, being disciplined, very disciplined in our consciousness. So the heart of it all is whether or not you are living in reaction to the circumstances that tell you that you are not whole, whether or not you're living in those spaces. So again, when you think about the stock markets and the people in the stock markets, they freak out when it goes down because they just want them to keep on going up and up and up and up. But there's no way that it's going to happen just like that. So a person that's not in self-mastery will hate losing the money and want to recover it immediately, because they actually see that it's a reflection that they are not whole, that they don't feel whole. It's telling them that they are not whole. And then they define themselves relative to that not being whole, and they can't handle it. And they want to cover the loss straight away because they don't feel whole. And because all they want to do is to feel whole again. All they want is to take the pain away. And that's the same as us. We're looking at how we can take the pain away. When we lose something or have our downs and things aren't going our way, maybe, life is challenging, family's challenging, business is challenging, a relationship is tough. When we're not in self-mastery, we're reacting from a place of not being whole. and we want the pain to be resolved. So we know just as seasons change, we have winter and summer and, spring, so do things in our life. It's not always on the up and up. When we choose our choices and our beautiful vision, it's not like this, is it? It's like the stock market. It goes up and then it goes down. And it's peaks and troughs, it's ups and downs, it's highs and lows. But as creators, over the years, we are going to, we're going to have the ups and downs. It's inevitable. However, it's not always going to stay in the down unless we create it that way. There will be times where things don't work out. There will be times where it feels like everything is against you. There will be times that it feels like it's all turning to shit. And I know, my story. I mean, my going, to my high of, working with Chris and having an incredible journey, and then choosing to go out on my own, and then it just dropped down to a low within it felt like a second. Right? There's going to be that. There's going to be highs and lows and ups and downs. But it's where we place ourselves. If we're trying to resolve the pain, or do we hold ourselves in our mastery? See, the difference between being in self-mastery or not is the self-masterful person, they prefer to have things, work out for them. We do, don't we? We prefer to have things work out for us, to have life to be the best that it can be, to make the money, to have the success, to have a really good life, loving relationships, to live our true nature and purpose, and so on, to be happy. I mean, why wouldn't we prefer that, right? Of course we prefer that. That's our preference. But the difference between, being a mastery or not, the masterful person is not chasing, for it to be perfect. It's allowing to have the highs and the lows. The preference is to have that, but it's to allow it to have it all working out for them all the time. So a masterful person is not chasing for it to be perfect, to have it working out for them all the time. They're not chasing that. It's a preference, but they're not chasing it. Because when you're chasing it, what are we doing? When we're chasing it, are we really in self-mastery? No, we're trying to control it. We're trying to control it. Being in self-mastery is not being concerned about it, even when it's not working out for you. So you don't have to buy into how you're feeling about it. You're not focusing on the current reality and reacting from that place of not being whole. Self-mastery is having focus on the long-term vision and being okay with the now, regardless if it's your preference or not, whether it's what you prefer or not. When we're in a long-term vision, we're living, our true nature and purpose. We're fulfilling our mission on earth. That is it. And as a masterful creator, the focus is holding on to yourself as whole, right? Holding on to yourself as whole And when we hold on to ourselves as whole, we are tapped into our greatness and in our genius. We're receiving the guidance from our intuition. We're coming from heart. We're aligning in being like centered and tuned in to our genius, receiving the guidance and taking the action. That is it. It's not focusing on the downs and the lows and what you feel is going against you and how come you're not there yet. Because when you're not in mastery, that's where the focus is. The focus is all about what's going against you, what's not working out, how you can't have what it is that you want, how you're not whole. And how you have to get past the lows so you can get back into the highs of life. Who's noticed that with themselves? They're like, oh God, I've got to get past this low point. I've got to get past it. And what happens then? We're fighting it. We're not allowing it to be. We're trying to control it. We're trying to control the conditions and the circumstances instead of like letting them go, letting them be, not making it a thing. So afraid of any short-term loss or that it feels like a loss, whether that's relative to money or success or relationships or anything. So we're so afraid of this short term, and that's it. But we see it as that it's everything, but it's not. It's just short term. It's just like a little blip in the stock market. Maybe it feels like it's a big blip, but it's still short term. But when we get pulled into this short term, we allow our ego to reflect in where we sit in our wholeness and then identify with it. And then can't just seem to allow the thoughts and feelings to be there without attaching. You see, that's what happens, when we're not in self-mastery, we're so attached to our thoughts and feelings. But we know, don't we, that our thoughts and feelings are not true. They're not real. They're not real for that point in time. So if we can't be losing, if we're trying to control not to have the lows, to have the downs in life, then we're fighting against what is. And it creates a negative vision. It creates a negative focus. And we give the power to that negative vision. And nothing good gets created from that space. Nothing good gets created from that space. And let me share something with all of you. If you can't allow yourself to fail, you will fail. If you can't be a loser, you will be a loser. If you can't be unsuccessful, you will be unsuccessful. And why is that? Because all of your energy and your focus is going to what you're giving the power to, and it owns you. And then you can't be whole. You can't be in self-mastery. There's no space for that. If you can't be whole, you can't be in self-mastery. You're not connected into your higher way of being, your genius. You're not anchored in your own power. You're not receiving the guidance from your superconscious. You're not taking action towards your true vision. Instead, reacting reacting instead of creating, trying to figure it all out. And it's sad and scary even, because it leaves a life of, that's not lived to its elevated fullest potential. Life is lost. So the only one concern that the masterful, being in self-mastery, the masterful have is with their consciousness, their foundation. That's the focus. That's where the energy goes. And asking yourself the question, am I holding myself as whole? Am I in touch with my truth? And using that as guidance, giving true direction. And it's powerful, right? Even just thinking of it in that sense, it's so powerful. You see, they surrender. They surrender, meaning they don't give the power away to those other things. They surrender, like they let go of it. When things are not working out, the first thing that someone that's in their mastery, the first thing they'll do is restore themselves back to their true sense of wholeness, to reorientate. But most people tend to go into reaction. And you see, we have so many tools to support our mastery. We do. We have so many tools to support our mastery. So the unmasterful are desperate to make up for losses, to fix themselves. And when we think about surrendering, see, surrendering is so powerful because as a master, this is what a master does. They surrender. They let go of any attachment. They don't give in to things. They don't give in to their thoughts and feelings. They don't give into anything. They surrender to it. They don't fight it. They notice it, they observe it, but they don't fight it. They surrender to the unknown. It's like, okay, here's my current reality, here's my desired reality. I've got no idea what's happening in there, but I'm not going to try and control it. They surrender to the urge of wanting or needing to control it, to figure it all out, or surrendering to fixing the current, circumstance. Surrendering to the parts that are wanting to be fixed. So I just want to be clear when I talk about surrender, it's not about like surrendering and then letting those things consume you. It's just a simple way of thinking, well, I'm surrendering to it in a way of I'm unattaching myself from it. I'm letting go. And as a masterful creator, we learn to hang in the tension. So we surrender, we don't fix it, we let that tension be there, we hang in it, and we focus on our desired reality, and we give space and allow the truth to unfold, because the truth will always set us free. But you see, when we're not in self-mastery, we're not in the actual truth. We're not in truth. See, when we rise above and observe, we have the ability to distance ourselves from the circumstance and detach our thoughts and feelings. So when we're detached, then we get to see the truth. And from the truth, we then have more powerful insight. because it's like, visualize, it's like rising above. You rise above, you look at it from a different perspective. And we give that space because we're not so consumed by everything. We give ourselves space to be connected to our superconscious, to our higher self, and see what guidance, see what's obvious. And so those that have worked with me one-on-one, you know what it's like when we're working with your vision, and we go into your vision and we connect into your current reality, and then we get the guidance for your bridge. We get it from your higher self, from your vision. We don't get it from your current reality. And it's the same when we're on lenses and we're doing the 4 core orientational choices, right? We come from our higher way of being to look at what's the bridge and what's obvious, not from our current circumstances. There's no power in that. There's no power in that. And the messages that we get are very, very different. One comes from ego, and one comes from our, from our superconscious, our higher way of being, from our intuition. So let me know in the chat box, what's landing for you? What's showing up for you? I'd love to get some feedback. Type away, my friends. Let me know, what is landing for you? It's a good conversation, isn't it? It's a very powerful conversation, because and I'll just chat away while you're all filling things in, because if we're not in self-mastery, we're not creating. We're not creating. So what's landing? What's landing? 2 very different outcomes that we create, hey? Well, you brought up the stock market. It's interesting that when the market is oscillating, it's very hard to make money. Yeah, or progress in life. When the market is strong, momentum, it is much easier to make money, to get moving and quit oscillating. Allowing the highs and lows is a major part of the mastery process. Yeah, just not making it mean anything, hey? Not making it mean anything. My power of creation lies in the creating bridges from vision. Surrender is key. Nice. Yeah, see, not being in self-mastery is wanting the pain to go away and doing what is needed to have that pain go away. They react from ego. See, it's very powerful when we can detach from that and come from a higher perspective. But I think even in knowing this work, this part gets lost. Right? You all know the creative development. You all know this work. You all know this work. And I'm gonna say this with love. Results don't lie. Where we all are now is a reflection of where we're holding ourselves in our self-mastery. So, What do we got? Yeah, self-mastery creates, not reacts. Absolutely. Coming from a place of wholeness, not trying to resolve the tension, allowing the tension, yet create from a higher level of consciousness, not the circumstance. Ups and downs are inevitable. It's our ability to allow. Yeah. Yeah, realize you're in a lull and let go of it and get back into creation mode. Yeah. Yeah, reactivity is the opposite of creation. And I don't know that we always can see. I mean, this is my perspective of what I've seen from others as well, and I guess it's part of being a coach, isn't it? Being on the outside looking in. People don't always see that they're actually reacting. Surrender was not something I could even consider during my coaching time. I thought it equaled giving up. Yeah, well, there's a difference, right? There is certainly a difference. I think that creates a really good point. Surrendering doesn't mean that we're giving up. Like it doesn't. Surrendering doesn't also mean that we don't take action either. You know, that could be a whole nother masterclass. Now I know better. It feels so much better. Nice. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I was gonna call you a Sarah there for a minute, Joanne. So we're not intellectually, but it's the embodiment that we need to come from wholeness. Absolutely, that's it. That's exactly it. All good, Debbie. Don't worry about typing in. Don't worry about typing in. So yeah, so it's very powerful when we can detach from our like from our current reality, current reality and our circumstances. When we can detach from that, when we're in our lows, because as Michael said, like it's very easy to keep that momentum going when it's on the up and up and up and up, isn't it? It's easy. But when we're on the down, when things aren't working out, if we can actually detach ourselves from all the thoughts and feelings that are coming up and wanting to react and wanting to resolve that tension and wanting to hide and play small, and we can come from a higher perspective, our higher way of being, it's very powerful because we're grounded, we're whole, and we see the big picture, don't we? And then we see where to go with it. We see where to go with it as opposed to being like in it and feeling consumed by it, and you know it's heavy and it's all you're focusing on and you feel like rubbish, and you can't see the big picture because all you're faced with is being in your stuff. So it's more important to have our wholeness than anything else. It must be our priority. It's got to be our priority. If you're masterful, you lose nothing. You know what I mean by that? Like it means that even in your lows, like you're not losing anything. You're whole, regardless of your situation or your current circumstance. You know it's going to go like this. If you have self mastery, you already have everything. You have everything, and then you can have everything else, and you will create magic. So, at the beginning when I said, we can go so far with our choices. We can go even further with self-mastery. But when we bring them both together, that is like that is the cream, you know? That's the that's the that's the peak. That's how you really create magic. Yeah, staying in alignment. Staying in alignment, really connecting into our our higher way of being. Rising up. When we rise up, you even think about it. I mean, if we all raised up out of our chairs, or if you, Debbie, you're in your car, but you raised up like, 200 meters, 300 meters, then you look at it from a different perspective. And you know what else? When you rise up, things get smaller, don't they? If I'm in this room and in my office, I mean, yes, I do have a beautiful view, but I can only see what I can see, right? So when we're in our lows and our downs, or whatever, or we're feeling stuck, we're playing the small game, we're connected into our ego, we're only, if we're only looking from this perspective, that's all we're going to see. However, if I rise up, if I skyrocket out of my chair, I've got some beautiful glass up here that I can't open. It's not like a window, but it's like a skylight. So if I zoomed up there and, if we kilometers up into the clouds, then this house and this room would look tiny, wouldn't it? So rise above, connect into our genius, our truth. It is our truth. Look at it from that perspective. Hold focus on your truth. Be in that self-mastery. It is key. It is key. And I still see a lot of people creating and being in their choices and being in the vision. They're not coming from their higher way of being. Yeah, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory went skyrocketing through the glass ceiling. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? So we're actually going to do. I've got a little exercise that we're going to do together, and it's called Conflict with Integrity. And we're going to do this in context of mastery, being masterful, not from a space of I have a problem that I want to feel better about. Okay? So I want you to think of a problem. Think of something that's going on for you, and type it in the chat box if you desire to share. But yeah, just think of a problem. Think of something that's not the way that you want it to be. Maybe it could be to do with a relationship or finances, or where you're at within your business, or just anything. But yeah, let me know when you've got it. Think of a problem. And it is nice, for the energy and for the purpose of this exercise, if you could write some things in the chat box, would be awesome. But just stick with one problem though. When I say write some things, I just mean as an individual, write something. Court dispute coming up. Okay. What else have we got? Relationship. And if you don't want to write it in, that's totally, I respect that. You know, I'm not going to ask you to pour your heart and soul out, but even if it's just a general description, or at least let me know. You know, I think as humans, having a human experience, it's not too hard to find a problem, is it? But if you got it, let me know if you've got it. Like, give me a number one. If you don't want to write it in, that's fine. But at least give me a number one in the chat box so that I know that we're all working through this together. Beautiful. Okay, cool. And I know for some of you, you can't write anything in because you're driving or doing something. Okay, so now that you've named the problem. Yeah, I mean, it's still same thing. If it's a situation, I mean, yeah, don't get too fixated on the word of problem, but just, if something's not happening in your world the way that you would love it to be, then yeah, just find it. So now that you've acknowledged that, just notice that you have a problem. Like, observe it. Observation is important, because if you don't observe it, then you're still in it. Just observe it. Just notice that you have that problem. And then I invite you to notice what the pain is. Like, what are you feeling? What's the emotion? Like sadness or frustration or stress or and I'd love for you to type that in the chat box. Notice what the pain is, like what you're feeling, the emotion. Or emotions, might be more than one. Frustration, fear, disappointment, guilt, anger, frustration, fear. Now, what do you want to do to make that pain go away? All of the above plus hurt. Okay. What do you want to do to make it go away? What do you want to do to make it go away right now? Fix it. And give up. And even when you're looking at fixing it, like, can you expand from that? You don't have to, but you don't have to, but can you expand from that? Get a job that pays regularly. Acknowledge that things take time. Explain my point of view. And notice how whole you are feeling right now. Remembering, what do you want to do to make the pain go away? If you're wanting to make the pain go away, you're not in your wholeness, are you? So notice how whole you are feeling right now. So don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. For goodness sake, don't do it. Don't do it. You see, so we looked at a problem, we noticed it, we observed it, we noticed the pain and what you're feeling and what it is that you want to do to make that pain go away. And so that is coming from your lower way of being, isn't it? And you noticed you didn't feel very whole at all. And so we choose, don't do that. Don't do it. Now for a moment, allow yourself to surrender. You see, if we can say, I'm just going to give myself a moment to surrender, to detach, to let go. It's very easy to allow yourself a moment, isn't it? A minute. So for a minute, allow yourself to surrender and detach and let go. And however you have your own way of bringing yourself to your higher way of being, whether it's connecting into your greatness circle or imagining, like actually physically imagining yourself like we were before, like rising up and being your higher self, looking down on it into, being in your creator, tapped into your genius, connected into superconscious. However you do that, because you know how you do it. So when you for a moment can surrender and detach and let go and ask yourself, now that you're above it, how do you see it? Like, you're not fixing it, okay? At this point, you're not fixing it, but when you sit above and you look at it from your higher way of being, simply observing it from your higher self and your wholeness, how do you see the truth of it? How do you see the truth of it? And fill me in the chat box. So you're not resolving it, you're just observing. So just how do you see it? Not what you need to do, not how you're going to deal with it, just how do you see it? Just observe it from your higher way of being. What's your higher way of being's perspective on that? Because maybe when you're rising above and you see it, is that, yeah, you're trying to control it, or you're playing small, or you're whatever. And then the next question is, now what direction do I take from here? How do I deal with it? What action do I take? What's the true way of response to this. So I think some of you might have jumped a little bit further ahead. Yeah, there are opportunities that I'm not seeing on the other side of the mountain. Absolutely. So now that you have that, what direction will you take from here? How will you deal with it? What action will you take? What's the true way of response to this? What direction? What action are you going to take? Get specific about what action you're going to take. How are you going to deal with it? What action are you going to take? This is one of the most important parts of it. Because observation is one part of the component, part of the mechanism. We see it, we feel it, we observe it, we rise above, we see it from that perspective. And from that perspective, how do I deal with it? What direction do I go from here? What action do I take? And then now you must follow through. You must follow through. And you can see where the stuckness comes, right? We either stay in this is the problem and I need to fix it and I'm looking at it through these eyes and you know, we're not rising above and we're trying to resolve the pain. Or when we rise above, we see it from that perspective, we allow ourselves to, from that point, look at what direction am I going to take from here, from being in my self-mastery, and take that action. Be in the true way of responding to something. And then we follow through. And then we follow through. What is the action required, Philippa? I'm sure that you will know, and you know, you don't have to type it in there, but like make sure that you get specific if you can. It's very easy for us to say, well, take action. But what specifically? Is it having a conversation with someone? You know, like what's the actual action? So see how doing this exercise is you being in self-mastery, isn't it? It's allowing the highs and the lows, the ups, the downs, the expected, the non-expected. It's allowing them and looking from what point are you fixing yourself in the observation of it. And then from that observation, where is your focus? Where are you putting your energy? What are you creating? Self-mastery is holding yourself as whole, seeing from that higher perspective, taking direction from your higher perspective, from your higher self, your higher way of being, following through on the direction. If any of those are missing, it's not mastery. Holding yourself as whole, your consciousness is more important than anything else in the world. And it must be your highest value. Because when it's your highest value, it doesn't matter if you're up or you're down. What matters is that you're on board with your consciousness. Because you don't make it mean anything. See, that's the problem. When things are not going our way, we make it mean something about us, about others, about the world. And that is not self-mastery, is it? And then because of that, we react and we take particular action. And whether that's playing small or procrastinating or not doing the thing that's obvious, lashing out, beating ourselves up because we're not as far ahead as what we desire to be. We all know for ourselves what our stories and the things that we put in there, right? I think the way I just did it feels heavy, but I temporarily forgot what came out of my asking the universe. Already this course and doing the process and other possibilities in my current big interests are opening up to me. Nice. Irrespective of technology. Nice. Yeah, trust your heart. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, trusting our heart's a big thing, isn't it? Because when we trust our heart, we allow ourselves to be in the unknown, don't we? It's like, well, yeah, here's my current reality, my current circumstance. But I don't need to control it. I don't need to try and pull myself out of this. I don't need to try and fix it. I can be in the unknown. I can just acknowledge where I am and I can accept it. And I'm not going to make it mean anything. I remember being on a coaching call with William and I was in my stuff. And I was really annoyed. Do you know why I was annoyed? Here's the story that I was telling myself. I should know better. I've been in this work for so long. I shouldn't be in my stuff. I should be able to just pull myself out. I had this moment, right? And it wasn't in self-mastery at all. And, I jumped on this coaching call with William and he said, how are you? And I said, well, a bit annoyed. I don't bring all my, stuff to conversation, because that's not being a creator, but that was just the truth of where I was. And he said, you know what? It doesn't matter. Those weren't the exact words that he used. We know that William uses some more choice words sometimes, but he said, it doesn't matter. Don't make it mean anything. Like, let your current reality be your current reality. But I was putting meaning on it. I made it mean something. And therefore, because I made it mean something, I was digging myself a hole, basically. I wasn't rising above and looking at it from my higher self's perspective. I was trying to pull myself out of it. So, this is so much more juicy gold. Love it, DB. So fill me in. What's really landed for you? What's really landed for you? And while you're filling in the chat box, because I'd love to hear what's really landing for you. a big one for me when I think about everything that we've covered today is when you are in self-mastery, you're not at the mercy of the swing of the pendulum. You're not at the mercy of it. When we allow and knowing that we're going to have times when we're going to, we're going to be in flow and in our mastery and just going for it, and things are going our way, and then there are going to be times where that changes and we might drop into the swing of our pendulum. But we know that we don't need to define ourselves relative to it. We don't need to define ourselves relative to whether, our business has taken a hit and it's not as successful, or something's happening in a relationship, or, when we allow ourselves as the stock market to not be in the mercy of when it goes low, because we know that there's going to be the seasons. So we must not create from our emotions. When we create from our emotions, being a human, it's part of humanness, isn't it, to have emotions? We're going to not have them, and we're not going to fight them, but we want to be mindful. Are we creating from those emotions? Like the exercise that we just done, what were you creating from your frustrations? Because that's what was happening. You were creating from your your frustrations, or your sadness, or your anxiety, or your stress, or whatever. That's not rising above and being in self-mastery, where we're connected into our wholeness. I got that we must create outside of our circumstances and surrender to the current reality. Yep, we can still go for what we want. Stop fixing the current reality, rising up, holding ourselves in our wholeness without judgment. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. See, when we're surrendering, we're not giving into, in a way of allowing us to be sucked into it. We're surrendering by saying, okay, this is just how it is, and I'm just not going to make it mean anything. It doesn't mean anything about me personally. And when I can stay in my wholeness and know that I'm complete and rise above and just let it be. I'm not going to try and fix it. I'm not trying to resolve the tension or the pain or whatever. I'm just going to hang in it. I'm going to hang in the tension. When we hang in the tension, that's exactly how I see it. We have a current reality, desired reality. That structure creates tension. There's going to be stuff that comes up. There is going to be stuff that comes up. And maybe in our current circumstances, things aren't going our way. And so we drop the ball, we let go. We're like, oh, well, that didn't work. Well, I need to try and fix this or do this. But if we allow that tension to be there and stay from our higher way of being, keep on focusing on our vision and taking the obvious action relative to that, it's inevitable that our current reality is going to shift towards our desired reality. And I love what you put, and as a reminder, and I've seen this so many times, people that choose to be coaches and they toe dip, and they're not coming from their higher way of being, and they're taking action, and they're all they're swinging, and they're swinging their pendulum, and then they give up, and they're like, oh well, I'll just get a job in the meantime so that I can have more time to create my coaching. And do you know what happens? They don't, or very rarely, or not that I've seen anyway, create their coaching business, because they find all these other avenues and ways to resolve the pain instead of just jumping in and going for it. When there's a low point in a creative path, don't make it mean anything. Observe it, say hi to it, yeah, and then put the energy and power into the desired reality for the next step. Yep, 100%. 100%. I love it. So was that good stuff? Was that a great conversation to be had today? Let me know in the chat box. I think it was a great one. Amazing. Love it. Great call. Awesome. You are so, so welcome. Yeah, don't resolve the pain, don't fix it, be the observer. Very timely, as always, isn't it? As always. See, we get to choose. So when you think about the exercise that we did, so at any time that something's coming up, you can use those steps. Okay, so let me acknowledge. Let me acknowledge just what's happening right now, because it's important. Like, acknowledge it. So we acknowledge it. So we're noticing what the problem is. We notice what the pain is and what it is that you're feeling. And, what you want to do to take that pain away. So it might be like, I don't know, having let's go for Beyond the Shadows, right? So some people have a problem that they want to get on social media, but they're super fearful of it. And so, they feel the frustration, they feel guilt, they feel whatever. And then what do they do to make, what is it they want to do to make the pain go away? Well, they don't want to put themselves out on social media. But we don't, that's not the thing to do, is it? But when we surrender to, okay, well, that's how I'm feeling right now, and we, ask ourselves, well, when I'm above it, how do I see it? Okay, well, I'm above it. I see that, I'm just fearful that people are going to judge me, and then I'm going to define myself relative to what they think. Now that you know that, what direction am I going to take from here? Well, how am I going to deal with it? Well, I'm just going to do the thing. I'm just going to take the action. I'm just going to go and do that video, do posts. Interpret it to anything you like, of course. You're welcome, Donya. You are welcome. Beautiful. So I choose this for you all, actually. I was going to say I hope that you do, but no, I actually really choose this for you all. I choose that you all really embody self-mastery. That you embody it. That you make it your highest value. Because this is what is going to create the magic. You're welcome, Marion. So do you choose it? Do you choose it for you? I'm choosing it for you. Are you choosing it for yourself? Are you choosing it for yourself? To hold yourself as whole, to operate from that wholeness and be very disciplined in your consciousness. And disciplined in your consciousness is not just like doing your true choices every day and being in the vision. We've unpacked everything, in here of what's being disciplined in our consciousness. I've gone a little bit over time, but we don't want to rush these things, do we? Beautiful. All right, beautiful souls. Big love to you all, those that are in my inner circle. I will see you in our chats and connection in about 15 minutes. For everyone else, I hope to see you on Lenses next week. And yeah, if you have any questions or you need any support, please do reach out to me either directly or the team, support at RochelleWeir.com. And yeah, let's create magic. Yes, Cynthia. Oh my God, I'm so excited about that. Can't wait. Cynthia and I are doing her Land of Plenty today. I'm so excited about it. We all know what that experience is like. It's a load of fun. So, love you all. See you when I see you next. Bye for now.